Hello, everyone. Welcome to another stream. How are you all? Thank you so much for joining me today on Thursday at 10 a.m. in Pacific time zone. I hope you're all doing great. This is a really fun stream because we are going to look at how to approach front-end interview questions. And I'm going to show you how to solve a front-end interview question, how to find front-end interview questions, and how to communicate while you're talking. We actually did a mock interview some time ago. If you guys remember, Sudarshan, who's actually in the chat, was our mock interviewee, and it was really great. He was communicating while he was thinking out loud. He was communicating while he was doing his question. And now in the last 2 weeks, when so many people have been affected by the layoffs, I wanted to do this interview workshop to kind of bring back that learning that we've had and help you navigate these interviews. In the next 50 minutes, I will show you a resource. I'll show you how to filter through LinkedIn to find a job posting that works for you, when to apply, how qualified should you be to apply, and how to tailor. We'll do another workshop for how to tailor your resume, most likely tomorrow. But when you think of what kind of questions could be asked, how to talk to your recruiter about it, and then how to practice questions and which platform to practice questions. So with that, welcome everybody. Aziz, Tejas, Code is for Life, Vishnu, Programming with Satyam, welcome, Sudarshan, Deep Roshan, Samwa, Badal Kumar. Good evening, good morning. Hey, from Brazil, how are you? What time is it where you are? Spider, Abhishek. Ready, let's go. Rohan, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a while. Oh wow, that Pyara Spidey. That's so cute. It's been a while since I have been live streaming. So thank you so much for joining me. This is going to be fun. Hello from India. Hi. For reference, I'm in Seattle. I would also love to know, where are you based, and what time is it where you are? It's 3 p.m. here in Brazil. Cool. I was Pyara Spidey. Nice. Very cute username. Okay. Meanwhile, you tell me where you're coming from. I am going to open LinkedIn to actually show you how to look for a front-end role. I'm sure most of you actually know this, but it still helps to talk through this. Jobs. Pause this. Make sure I hide any sensitive information. Oh, there's a job opening for Slack. I think this will be perfect. So let's open this. Hello from Poland. Oh, hey. 11:40 p.m. in India. We'll be covering anything production level. So today we're actually doing a front-end interview workshop. And so let me give you some context. So the idea here is that I am going to share what an interviewer is looking for. I have interviewed candidates for front-end interviews for full stack roles, and I have been interviewed, so I know what they're looking for. So that's what I'm going to be sharing from my experience. Covering production level, I don't think that question will apply to this case because it's an interview question or interview workshop. React.js. Yeah, I'll be primarily focusing on React.js. But the same applies for like Angular or JavaScript. The platform that I'll show you, actually it's in the link already. The platform that I'll show you that has questions for JavaScript as well. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we are in LinkedIn, and I found already it's giving me some like front end engineer roles because I've been a front end interviewer. I've been a front end person. So we're gonna take a look at this Slack job because I worked there, so I know what they're talking about. So here this says senior staff software engineer, front end role. Actually, this is senior staff. Let's look for something like senior software or staff engineer. Carbon robotics. Let's take a look at this. Is this big enough? Let's zoom this in. That's probably big enough. Okay. So I'm just going to look for job skills to see what they are looking for and how much how much work experience are they looking for. I don't see computer science, effective verbal knowledge of interacting with the backend services and deploying web applications, work as a software engineering, building user-centric applications for 5+ years, including some experience using TypeScript and React. Okay, cool. Then let's take a look at Microsoft's job posting. Okay, this is cool. This is Copilot engineer. Actually, this is not exactly front end, so let's keep looking. Let's try this. Staff front end engineer, AI ML. Okay, expertise in modern front-end frameworks, strong proficiency in React, Angular, or similar with master of JavaScript and TypeScript. So one thing that you'll notice is that all of them are asking for JavaScript, or all of them are asking for TypeScript. So when you write your resume, make sure that you're highlighting your TypeScript experience in there so that your resume can get picked up. Deep engineering experience, proven track record building scalable, performant, and maintainable front-end systems for SaaS or platform products. Another thing here is that they're looking for somebody who's built scalable, performant, and maintainable front-end systems for SaaS, right? So when you write your resume, again, think about if you have done work for SaaS companies, you should definitely highlight SaaS companies because that's what they're looking for. That aligns very well with what they're looking for. Again, and then they also said scalable, performant, maintainable front-end systems, which means that you want to highlight those as well. I'm going to go into detail in tomorrow's session where I'll talk about how to kind of build your resume. Today, let's keep going. Okay, why I'm looking for that is because I want to know what skills they're looking for. Systems level thinking, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's it. And then let's say that we are interviewing for Reddit. Okay, let's look at Reddit and then we'll look at Netflix and then we'll call it. Okay, what you'll do, required qualifications, 5 years. Proficiency in front-end technologies, including TypeScript, again, TypeScript, with experience in component frameworks, React, Angular, Lit. Oh, what is Lit? I've never... OpenJS one. Oh, I've never used Lit. Okay. Demonstrate ability to experience in developing end-to-end applications at scale from API design to user interface implementation, ability to integrate front-end systems efficiently. So again, like integrating with back-end systems is something that they want. Expert with software engineering best practices, such as unit testing, code reviews, design, and documentation. Okay, and then if you've done code reviews, you probably have. If you've written unit tests, you want to highlight that in your resume. Demonstrated ability to develop scalable, well-designed software. Scalable is something that they're looking for. So when you're applying for, or like when you're appearing for the resume, remember that they're looking for performant code. Experience working with experimentation platform, excellent communication skills, blah, blah. Okay, now let's look at Netflix. Okay, proficient in JavaScript, TypeScript, and React. Experience with GraphQL. So if you have experience with GraphQL, this is something that they would probably ask. So make sure you put that in the resume and brush up on your skills. Strong understanding of component-based architecture and state management. Okay, this is really cool that they have like a specific line in here, right? Strong understanding of component-based architecture and state management. What does this tell you? This tells you that in the interview, they are going to be evaluating your code based on how reusable it is, what kind of state management you use, how sort of flexible your state management is. Are you using a third party? Are you using React built-in stuff? So this gives you a very good idea of what the interview could look like. Effective communicator and collaborator, you have to talk through knowledge testing of testing frameworks. Okay, because they're saying testing frameworks, which means when you write your code, and it says here as well, able to design, architect, debug, test, and create well-documented code. When you write your code, in interview, you also want to make sure that you're also testing your code. Okay, let's see what did great front end. I've already been there. Great, awesome. Only front end development is enough to get job. React JS. For front end developers, yeah. You do need to integrate with backend, and some flexibility or like some experience with backend is really helpful. I'm rejected 4 times on React JS. Let me help how to crack an interview. Yeah, hopefully this exercise will help you. Should make specific resume based on more tech stack they need. I would tailor every resume, every application based on what you're applying for. I'm rejected 2 times Python developer interview. Help me how to crack a Python software developer interview. So Python, I have never applied for Python interviews. But general software engineering, you want to focus on lead code. It's similar skills apply that I'll be sharing today. But I have never done Python. But I think it's probably more similar to like general software engineering, right? Lit is a JS web component library. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to check that out later. What was all the round? What was all the round? Oh, subscribe, Kalina. Thank you. Do you work in India? I actually work in Seattle. Alrighty. So, we are ready to get started. Hold on. Let me make sure that this is going through well. दीदी फ्रंट एंड का जॉब है कि मैं अंधा हूँ मैं ही अंधा हूँ front end has a lot of jobs so like all the things that I'm looking here are actually front end developers, front end interviewers. Okay. Okay, before we move forward, most of the people who come to this channel are either new visitors or haven't subscribed yet. So if you are somebody who is new to this channel, please take this moment to hit that subscribe button. My goal this year is to get to 30,000 followers by the end of December, and I'm very, very close. So you can help me get there. Just hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for your support. Now let's get into actually finding interview questions. Okay, so I have great front end open here, and the like which questions we do kind of depend on how much. Let me rephrase. Which questions we pick from here kind of depend on what the interviewer would be looking for. Okay, so the first thing, even before applying for, or like even before starting any interview question, is to ask your interviewer this specific thing, which is it going to be data structures and algorithms type of interview, or is it going to be more practical JavaScript interview? If it's a front-end interview, chances are that they will say that this is a more practical JavaScript type of interview. And in that case, you want to be doing what I'm doing today. If they say that this is going to be a standard software engineering or data structures and algorithms or lead code type of interview, you want to be doing lead code stuff. Great Frontend actually does have lead code type of questions. So you can practice on Great Frontend as well, but that is just something to keep in mind. And why am I using Great Frontend? Actually, this is how I practice. I have a premium plan with them, and anytime I'm applying for front end interview questions, I used to have like a list of questions that would be asked, and then I would practice something similar. So Great Front End is where I see all of those questions that are already added, and the questions are very applicable to what front end interviews would ask. But even before getting into Great Front End, there is something that I would recommend. I think I have this in my book. Okay, so even before getting into Great Front End, if you're applying for a React interview, I've put together what are the common sort of subjects or topics to learn, and I'm going to share that here. This is an absolutely free ebook. Thank you for subscribing. This is an absolutely free ebook. So this is React topics to learn before practicing front-end interview questions. Okay, so once you know, like, and why I'm sharing that is because you can come and practice the actual like stuff here, but then you need to know the basic concepts. So before you even start doing like React stuff, make sure that you have brushed up on your fundamentals. Thank you for the subscription. All right, so let's get into it. So the first thing that I wanted to do, and here is the link for Great Front End. Oh my God, why is this? Whoa, that is a long question. Okay, so once you get into Great Front End, you can actually choose JavaScript questions. Okay, hold on. Why is it? I think I have this selected. Okay, you can either choose JavaScript questions, or you can choose like algorithmic questions, and this is what lead code type of questions are. Or you can choose something like I want to build, like the UI, and this is what I love about Great Front End. Like there's so many different types of questions here. And let's say that you are applying for Microsoft. We actually saw Microsoft stuff. You can filter by that company. Is it even visible? Yeah. You can filter by that company and then pick a question from this category. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep this on JavaScript interview questions. And then the first thing that I usually do, if this is the first time that I'm applying for interviews, is actually do some warm-up questions. And I think they do have some warm-up questions here. Difficulty easy. So I start with like easy questions, and you see here that says like warm-up question, right? This is a really great question to start off with. I do not recommending starting off with like a hard question or like a medium question. You want to build up your confidence slowly, right? So here the question is, make the text within the button display the number of times the button has been clicked. And especially if you are like a new or a fresher, this is a great place to kind of gain confidence in your React skills as you get familiar. So this just says make the text within the button display the number of times the button has been clicked. I think it's, wait, why is it going to -5? Oh, this is count. And this should be count +1. So if you click, it just says how many clicks. See, so simple. Done. And then you mark as complete. Done. Cool. So even if I've been practicing for a long time, this is something that I like to do because I like to feel confident before I get started. So warm-up question done. Okay. Then usually what I would do is I'll do like 2 to 3 easy questions. I spend most of the time doing medium questions and then some time doing hard questions. You want to do a little bit of everything. Now, it depends on which level you're at. If you are more junior, just getting started, you may want to do more easy and medium questions. If you are more senior, you may want to do more medium and hard questions. So for example, one question that I feel like there's like these binary search tree questions, but we're going to focus on JavaScript questions, not the algorithm questions. A question that gets asked, oh, this question gets asked so many times, the currying function and the debounce function. Look at how many people have actually done this question. 14,000 people. This question gets asked all the time, debounce question. So typically I would also do the questions that are done by a lot of people, which means that that is a popular question. Like this is done 14,000 times. I already knew this is a popular question, but the numbers say that as well. Okay, another question that is kind of hard is these promise questions, promise merge, promise timeout. It says medium here, but these questions, like the whole promise stuff is pretty hard. Same with throttle, that gets asked all the time. I have actually made a video on promise, so let me share that with you. If I can find it. Promise. Yeah. This is an interview question that was actually recently asked to me in an interview. Promise interview question. Interview question. Okay. All right, let's see what the chat has to say. Please start with the React.js, not TypeScript. Yeah, we're gonna do React. I've started. Please check my. Wait, कौन है ये? भाग जा यहाँ से. Next is in demand, but to learn Next, you must learn React first. That is true. Okay, I prefer React because I only learned that. Cool. Okay, cool. Let's get started. So we have what, 30 minutes? So typically at this point, what I would do is I'd set up a timer to make sure that I don't go over like the recommended. So typically you'll get like 45 minutes, or actually you should aim for 30 minutes if you're practicing yourself. When I was preparing for my Airbnb interview, I actually looked through these questions and I practiced them. And the question that I got in the interview was very close to the one that I got. So that's what I'm going to practice today. So the question that I love practicing is, there's actually two questions that I love practicing every time I'm doing interview questions, which is tabs and star rating. So today we're going to do star rating, and your homework is to do tabs question. So in star rating, basically you know how in Airbnb or in like any sort of star rating kind of platform, you have these stars, so you can hover on them to click on them. Hold on, why is this not working? Reload this. Oh, it's not working because I haven't implemented this. Let's look at this, see what you're going to build. So the question here is create a star rating widget that allows users to select a rating value. So you can kind of like hover on this, and then if you hover, that's the number of stars that are selected. So star, if you hover on the fifth, 5 stars selected. If you hover on 3 stars are selected. But if you remove hover, then none of the stars are selected if you didn't click. So for example, if I click on 1, I only have 1 selected. If I hover on 5, I have 5. It's kind of shown and highlighted, but if I move away, they are not selected. The widget accepts 2 parameters, maximum number of stars and the number of currently filled stars. When a star is clicked, it is filled along with all the stars to its left, so everything before that. If the cursor leaves the widget and no new selection is, hovering over a star fills that star and all stars to its left. The stars which need to be filled during hover take priority over existing filled state. If the cursor leaves the widget and no new selection is made, the appropriate stars revert to the filled state before the hovering. Make the star rating widget reusable, such as that multiple instances can be rendered within the same page. This is something that people look for a lot, especially in companies that talk about like reusable components in their job description. Make the star rating widget, the star icons, both empty and filled, are provided to you as SVGs. A star rating JS skeleton has been created for you. You are free to decide the props of star rating. Cool. All right, so okay, so looking at the files, I'm gonna move this here. This is big enough. Make this maximum. Move this here. Move this here. Okay, is this big enough? Looks good to me. All right, so now the question here is, we've been given this like SVGs. So I think one of them is filled and one of them is not filled. So this one, it says fill is none, icon filled, and this one is not filled. So we've got, that's what is actually displaying. There is one that's filled and there's one that's not filled. So basically, remember, we have to make this reusable. Even though right now we've got two SVGs, remember that this needs to be reusable. So something that we want to do is that we want to pass in something like a filled. And then if it is filled, we want to add a new class name here that would say like star icon filled based on if filled was passed, and then that should become filled or not filled, right? So that's how you want to like reuse your components instead of creating from star. What the hell is this? Path. Instead of starting from scratch, okay? But we're gonna come back to like these in a bit. But before we even get started, let's first think about what questions come to our mind. See, it says widget accepts 2 parameters and a maximum number of stars. So props are gonna be max stars. I don't know if this is visible on stream. Max stars. And then the next thing is, and the number of currently filled stars. And then also we have currently filled stars. More like initially filled stars. But anyways, when a star is clicked, it is filled along with the star to its left. So on click on a star means that everything should get filled up to that index or that star. Hovering over a star, hovering means that we've got, what's the method there? It'll be for hover, you've got you've got on mouse enter, and then you've got on mouse leave. So you want to use those functions. And then on mouse enter and on mouse leave, we've got something that we need to do, which is the stars which need to be filled during hover take priority over existing filled state, which means that like if you've got 1 star filled and you're hovering over 5, you want to fill all the 5 ones. If the cursor leaves a widget, which means an on mouse leave, and no new selection is made, the appropriate stars revert to the filled state before hovering. Make the star widget reusable. Cool. So let's do this now. So the first thing we want to do actually is create a function. Remember, they're talking about reusability. So we're going to create a function called star, and then we're just going to pass in, like we said, filled or not filled. And then this SVG stuff actually comes in here. And then if it is filled, so then I'm just going to add a, if it is filled, then I want to give it a star. What is it? Star icon. If it is not filled, then I'm going to give it a star icon filled star icon. Okay. And First, let me remove this. Probably have problems with my template strings already. So here, if it is filled, then I want to give star icon. What was that? Star icon and then star icon filled, I believe. Otherwise, I'm going to give it star icon. Cool. And then now I'm just going to render this. Return star. And then filled is going to be, I do need to set filled to something, so we're going to set it to false. Filled is equal to true. Cool. And then if I set it to false, does it turn off? Filled is equal to false. Am I not? Filled is false. I don't know. Filled. How about that? Okay, let's console log. Filled. Where is my console? There. Ah, it's an object. Oh, of course. Cool. Perfect. And then true. Nice. Okay, cool. Whew, that was scary. Can we use HTML entity for star? It's easy to remember. So no, they actually gave you an SVG already. So you want to use what they gave you. LeetCode is the best UI for front-end exercise. LeetCode is actually not very good for front-end. I mean, the UI is good, sure, but their questions are not very good for front-end. Is it Bootstrap or Tailwind? It's just CSS. Actually, there's nothing yet. Is it? Yeah, it's just, I mean, right now I don't even have CSS. This is just SVG. For interviews, it'll be easy to remember in case the interviewer does not provide the SVG. Typically, they will give you any assets that you need. But if they don't, then you're free to use the Unicode, or you're free to use like Google and find something. Okay, so now we've got the star. So remember, the props that this component should accept is, so remember, there's a few things we did. Number one, we created a reusable component, which is something that they've asked for. Number two, we tested all the cases, the false case and the true case. That's what we want to do. Now let's actually accept max stars, and then the next thing that we want to do is we want to also accept currently filled stars. So this says you're free to decide the props of star rating. So we can actually give max props here. Max stars, and then currently filled stars. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I believe the way this is rendered is star rating, and then I'm going to pass in max stars equals 5, and then I'm going to pass in currently filled stars equals 2. So that's what we're going to test next. And one thing that I like to do is also write down the requirements, right? So the first requirement is that we need to have max stars rendered. We need to have currently filled stars filled out, and then need to have on hover enter functionality, which they've actually talked about what that is. And then we also need to have on how mouse leave, not mouse, hover enter, mouse enter functionality, mouse leave functionality. So that's our so that's the stuff that we have to do. So let's implement the first one, which is have max stars rendered, which means that if we go to stars, we've got max stars. All we gotta do is we gotta start an array here, or like we could do like this a bunch of ways. So we could have array.from, we could have for, whatever works for you. Where's the class property coming from? Class property, do you mean this one? This has actually been given to us. This was what is provided by the interviewer. This is what we created. So I don't know, like whatever is the simplest to you. Just do a return and then div, or like for let I equal 0, like simplest stuff. Less than filled, I plus plus, and then what you want to do is just like put star inside this. And of course I have errors. Okay, let's do that again. Star filled true. So many brackets. Okay. Okay. All right, and then return. We can also do, I think we can do array.from, which might be easier. So let's do array.from. Let me actually look up array.from syntax. Array from, and this is something that you can do in the resume, in the interview as well. You can totally look up like syntax that you need to. Okay, so array.from takes, let me put this here. Array.from static method creates a new sharded copy of instance array from and the way you can loop is there might be say way to loop array from a map. Array.from from a node list. Array.from. Okay. So you can do, I think what you can do is you can do we'll do like an object of length. Hold on, where is this array.from? Length max stars, and then so that actually create. Hold on, why is this so hard? For max stars. Oh, I know. Hold on. Instead, render. I'm going to create a method called render stars, and then const render stars equals. And then here I'm going to say for let I equal 0, I less than max stars. At this point, the interviewer is probably like, damn, this girl is struggling, but it's okay. Let's just keep going. Of course, I'm rusty here. Star, this is going to be star filled equals let's just keep it false, right? And then render stars. And then I also want to return this. Return this, and then return this. The fuck, dude? Okay, hold on. Okay, that from length is max stars. Dot. So this gives an array, and then we want to do a map. And then for each of these items, we want to do a map. This goes here. This goes here. Okay. This goes here. Okay. Return render stars. Okay. Return. Or this can actually just come right here. This can come here. We can do a div. Cool. This just needs to be a return. Remove this. This goes here. Use array for 5 length. Use a map for 5 length array. Maybe use map. What is the name of this website and is it free? This is called Great Frontend. The link is in the description. Array.from is cleaner. Oh no, this is fine. Okay, div. I just need to fix my missing brackets. I've got this bracket. I've got one more bracket here, and then I've got this bracket. There you go. That took a while. Damn, if this was an actual interview, holy crap, I'd be like freaking out. Whew, that's why it's important to practice before actually doing an interview. Don't wrap brackets on for loop. I removed for loop. Okay, but all right, so we've got the stars here. Now, there was a question in here, I think, about like CSS, like where's the CSS coming from? I may have missed that. There's a style.css here. That's probably where that's coming from. I think that's probably what the question was. But yeah. All right, so we've got half max stars rendered, but we need to actually style them. So we can add star rating stars. We can add class name equals and then filled. This actually doesn't need a star name. So this can get that. Stars display clicks. There you go. Huh, simple. All right, so the next thing is we've got max rendered done. Then we need to do currently filled stars. So how can we do currently filled stars? So remember, we've got this filled thing here, and then we know which item we're rendering. The way we want to do this is we only want to render the item, or we only want to fill up to currently filled stars. So we know the index of this, which means like which one are we rendering. If it is the index, if the index is less than currently filled stars, let's say like you were on index 0, you only want to fill currently filled stars, so 0 plus 1, then you want to add filled equals true. Otherwise, you want to add filled equals false. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so filled is equal to if the index is less than currently filled stars. How many stars did I pass in? I think I passed in 2 stars. If the index is less than currently filled stars, which means I'm on the 0th one and then I'm on the first one, then I want to fill that index. Otherwise, I don't want to fill that, right? And that works. Let's also test this with like a crazy number like 6. That already filled it. 5, filled it. 4, filled it. Cool. And then if I have 0, everything else is blank. So let's leave it at 4. So that was easy. Then the next one is we need to have a mouse enter functionality and a mouse leave functionality. So what happens on mouse enter and mouse leave? So on mouse enter, basically we want to kind of change this filled thing, right? If it is the hovered item, like if you're on the 2nd, that is the hovered item. If we are on the 5th, then that's what we want to do. So basically the filled will change depending on which item is hovered. So for that, we just need to know which item or like which index is hovered. So we need to create actually a on mouse enter thing. And then remember, we also have to do a handle mouse enter, and we also have to do a mouse leave. On mouse leave, I have 6 minutes left. So handle mouse, let's go. Const handle mouse enter, and then handle mouse leave. All right, so in handle mouse enter, I just want to set hovered index and then set hovered index, right? And then use state, and then I'm going to start hovered index with actually null. Actually, yeah, let's start with null. Okay. So on hovered on mouse enter, I want to give it the index of the item that I'm on, which means actually this doesn't need to go here. It should go on the item that I'm rendering, which is right here. Oh crap. Why? Because I need to know which index it is, right? So I'm going to move this in here. All right. So, and actually I could just do it here. So I could do set hovered index is equal to the index, and then I'm gonna, at this point, I'm just gonna do set hovered index is null. Okay, so I don't need this. I don't need this. Okay, and then for filled, what? Use state is not defined. Oh, import. Cool. Okay. And on filled, I just need to respect that and say if index is less than hovered index. Wait, what was that? Oh, if index is, oh no, actually what I want to do is, because it says that you need to respect that priority. the stars which need to be filled during hover take priority over existing filled state. So I gotta do if hovered index is less than currently filled stars, then it is then it is true, right? In that case, that is true, but index or so if Howard index is less than currently filled stars, then if Howard index is given, then I want to make sure that I respect that. So which means that if Howard index is present, then I want to fill based on Howard index. So it's going to be the same logic but with Howard index instead. But if Howard index is not given, then I want to check with index, which means how many stars are already filled. So now, I don't have this working yet. Set Howard index is going to be the index. Set Howard index is null. Howard index, if that's present. Oh, this doesn't even accept this. I know. Oh, which is fine to do. We could do that. And then I'm gonna move this. Oh shit. I am gonna move this in here. I have like 2 minutes left. On mouse enter. And then filled will stay here, but I also need a div. Okay. There you go. That works. Okay, so I've got the mouse enter, I've got the mouse leave. Now the only thing to do is the on click, and on click on mouse functionality. I actually did not even write that here, but we need to have an on click functionality, which is that if I do click on the fourth or the third one, all I need to do is make sure that that is clicked, and I just need to set like currently filled stars to be that number, right? Okay, and let's just make sure that we've got all the requirements other than the on change thing, the on click thing. Hovering over star fills that star, all its stars to its left. So if I hover on, oh hold on, oh no, there's a bug. If I hover on 3, it should only fill 3. I'm actually filling all the 5. If Howard index is equal to null, then okay, otherwise you want to set Howard index to be null. Index is currently filled stars. Some bug in here. Oh, hold on. Wait, what? Oh man, I've broken something. Can you share the question? How do I share this question? Hold on. Oh shit, I'm out of time. Um, I mean, there's some bug that I need to fix it, but I think you get the idea. Reverse the logic. If Howard index is not, oh shoot, you're right. There you go. I just need to add a 1 plus 1 because it's just like Howard index. There you go. Cool. Sweet. Thank you. Howard index should not be null. It's okay to be null because when we leave, we want to set the Howard index to be null. All right. We're out of time, but I hope that gives you an idea of kind of how to approach an interview, how to think through an interview, how to find interview questions, how to practice interview. This was fun, also a little scary. Thanks. Thanks for the encouragement. But just remember that interviewing is a practice. It's basically a numbers thing, right? Like the more you interview, the more you practice, the better you get at it. These kind of things become very easy if you've done it like 50 times versus if you're doing it for the very first time, right? So just remember that typically when we go into an interview and if we fail, we take it like personally. I have done that to myself. So I just wanted to remember that it's not that you are not good enough or not made for this industry. It's just it takes a while to practice. It takes consistency, and you're gonna get there. So I hope this was helpful. Just remember to keep practicing. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have a different question, or if you have a if you want to bring your resume tomorrow to get it reviewed, we can do that tomorrow. Thank you for joining. Bye.